Oh, she's good.
I'd encourage everybody to speak in the microphone. I've been watching the, can't hear half of them because they don't speak in the mic.
They don't speak in the microphone. They don't speak in the mic. Right. Okay, ready to go?
All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. If you will stand, Councilman Hucks will do our invocation and lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
Lord Jesus, we come to you tonight in prayer to express our gratitude for the wonderful community, freedoms and liberties that you blessed us with right here in the United States of America. Help us to never take these things for granted and always remember that you are the source of our many blessings. Help us to always remember and honor those that have served and sacrificed. As we fulfill and strive to be servant leaders in our community, please help us always follow your example as the original and greatest.
Amen. Thank you, David. All right, the next item on our agenda is our audience for visitors. Is there anyone in our audience that would like to address council tonight on any subject, any topic? Seeing none, let's move on to approval of our minutes, please.
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of our regular session of September 13th, 2021.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. We adopt the minutes from our regular session, September 13th, 2021. Ms. Kim?
Councilman Fye,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Abstain.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
And Mayor Hustle.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0 with one abstention.
Okay, thank you, Kim. We have one public hearing tonight, an ordinance making additional preparations for fiscal year 2022 in the Debt Service Fund and the Capital Projects Fund for continuing support of the migration for the real property assessment software. Ms. Tanya.
Hello, good evening, Councilmembers, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Tonight, we have an ordinance appropriating funds from the debt service to the capital projects fund for $1,086,000. This is to support 9 projects that are held in the constrained construction improvement project plan. We're looking to do the city park, which is estimated about $125,000 for playgrounds, gazebos, and golf carts. We're looking at South Wilson Park, which is estimated about $190 for restrooms. If you recall, we just had the ribbon cutting for the shelter. This is kind of the final piece to bring that project all together for the citizens of the person. As well as we're looking to replace one of our medic units. It'll be a 50-50 share grant that the fire department will apply for. We're also looking to do some renovations on our pool. We need to do some upgrades. That pool is older than I am, and probably most of y'all on this council as well. So it's time to do some upgrades on that. As well, we're asking for public works equipment. We did not identify that equipment due to the fact we are looking to hire a director of public works, and therefore we want to give that person the opportunity to do so, as well as the school bus replacement. We're also looking to do some repaving both at Messick Park, Messick paving, as well as City Hall. So those 9 projects will make up that $1,086,000. That money will come from the debt service cash reserve that we've been able to hold on to because of the wonderful opportunities and the great financial position that the city's in, getting those great interest rates on the debt. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions, Tanya?
One, my comment, because I was kind of involved with the first one there, talked about the City Hall Park, as it's called. We were really looking at a performance venue rather than the gazebo, but no one knew what that meant, so we put the word gazebo in there for those that are interested. And it seemed to click when everybody thought of the gazebo. So it's, whatever it turns out to be, that would also be a performance thing, but a gazebo has a vision that everybody can see.
Well, the great thing over there is now the parks board will have an opportunity to make a suggestion and how to spend the money best
Other questions, comments? If not, Tanya, thank you very much. Well done. Okay, looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we
I
adopt
think
an
you need
ordinance.
to, think you need to
Public hearing.
open the public hearing.
Thank you, Wayne. We do need to open the public hearing. And ask if there's anyone who would like to address that topic. If not, we'll close the public hearing, and now we'll ask for a motion. Thank you, Wayne.
Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance making additional appropriations for year 2022 in the debt service fund and the capital projects fund with the following correction. Under the municipal pool renovation, change the word cement to concrete.
Noted. All right, we have a motion second and we adopt the ordinance. Any concerns, comments? Any other questions? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Hux,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman, Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews. Aye. Councilman Fye,
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Let's move on to new business. First item and only item is an ordinance to amend the city code, 1982, section 78-102, article 6, to reflect the posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour on Victory Boulevard from the Poquoson city limits to Wolf Creek Road. Randy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As council will recall, this is something that we've talked about periodically while I've been here. And earlier this summer, with the commencement in earnest of the Legacy Project, I asked the city engineer to undertake a study of the speed limit on Victory Boulevard, just to make sure that the speed limit as posted continue to be appropriate, and to test that. As the council is aware, the posted speed limit and what's actually in the city code are somewhat at variance, so it was really to test what that speed limit should be. Sean performed the traffic study, which he will speak to in a second, in concert with VDOT's assistance and using VDOT's methodology in performing the study. And one question that was prompted by a comment of a council member is just a reminder that as the Legacy Project continues, there will be future reviews of both the speed limit and the need for a light in the future. But this analysis today is based on the current information as well as data. Sean?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Here we have just a standard picture of the area that was analyzed during the speed study. The new development is obviously going to be Legacy, and there you have outline entering into the city, heading towards Wolf Creek Road, as well as out. So with the help of VDOT, we placed traffic tubes strategically in this corridor, both in the 55 mile per hour zone as well as the 35 mile per hour zone. The traffic tubes are placed during the weekdays. That's standard practice for speed studies. They're left out there for, like I said, 3 days, and they're run 24 hours consecutively over those 3 days. Once the data was collected, analyzed it, looked at the 85th percentile, which us engineers use in the traffic world to see what the average traffic speed for that corridor is in relation to any changes in the speed limit. That, as well as other variables, are taken into consideration, such as access points, future development, Legacy being a prime example of that, and any pedestrian activity along shoulders, whether it be bicyclists or just citizens walking along that section of highway. So for our data results, for a two-lane, undivided highway, we look at crash rates, injury rates, and fatality rates. And we do this using the data provided by the Poquoson Police Department, and it's 3 years worth of data. It goes back to 2018, June 25th, up through this year, June 25th. With those 3 years, we analyze the number of crashes without injuries, the number of crashes that result in injuries, as well as any fatalities. Luckily, thank God, there has been no fatalities over the 3 years that I analyzed and studied. Our numbers are what is known as an R value, or an accident ratio. And they're depicted here as the first set of numbers: 145.49, 67.15, and 0. That would be your accident rate, your injury rate, and your fatality rate, respectively. The statewide average for a 2-lane undivided highway, which is Victory Boulevard, is 183.46, 102.74, and 0.9, respectively, for crashes, injuries, and fatalities. So as you can see, we are below the state limit, which shows that our citizens are slowing down as they see that sign. And I also was able to analyze that in the data and see that for the most part, they are coming up on that 35-mile-per-hour sign, and they are slowing down. But we do still have many citizens or people traveling that corridor that are still traveling at excessive speeds, which is a great concern and which helped kind of prompt this analysis. It's also imperative to note, and I thought this was really important to present to you all, that the stopping sight distance for a level roadway for 35-mile-per-hour speed limit zone is twice the distance of a 55-mile-per-hour zone. So with that being said, in this picture you see below, this is how stopping distance is judged. First, you have your reaction distance, your perception reaction time. That would be as if you are driving in your vehicle, and in this illustration, you see the deer. As soon as you see the deer, you have time to react. And obviously, that's going to be hit the brakes unless you don't really care for your vehicle. So once you apply those brakes, the next would be your braking distance, how long it takes for you to come to a complete stop. Those two together are the stopping sight distance. For a 35-mile-per-hour zone, as I mentioned, that's double of a 55-mile-per-hour zone. So someone traveling extremely fast, it's going to take them twice as long to stop going 55 miles per hour than it would at 35 miles per hour. So this is just the final recommendation. This is how it looks in the code currently. It's actually labeled as With Creek Road to City Line, 55 miles per hour. We are asking to amend that to strike that line, add With Creek Road to City Hall Avenue, 35 miles per hour, City Hall Avenue to City Line, 55 miles per hour. As City Manager mentioned, there will be future studies coming along with this giant development that we have next door. Those will include signal warrant analysis, which will be upcoming after the first phase, as well as another traffic study. So with that, I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions of Sean? Sean, did a good job, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions, no comments. Let's adopt this ordinance.
Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinance of the City of Poquoson, Virginia by adopting new speed limit restrictions on Victory Boulevard.
Thank you, sir. And we have a second. Motion made second that we adopt the ordinance. Any other concerns or comments? Any more questions? Kim, please.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Hux?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews? Aye. Mayor Hessel?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thank you, Kim. Mr. City Manager, have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things this evening. One, I want to thank council for your votes on changing the speed limit in the ordinance, in the code, to reflect where our signs have been for some time. Thank you for that. Appreciate the work Sean did. It's nice to have a city engineer that brings a VDOT traffic background. You can see on a project like this, the immediate impact of that experience. Thank you for that, Sean. I would say interesting use of a moose graphic. In 33 years of public service, haven't seen that. I think that's really cool.
It's a deer.
And it looked like a moose.
I know, it's a moose. He said,
And I wanted to thank you all also for your appropriation decision this evening in support of the capital improvements plan. It's nice to be in a position to invest some cash rather than having to constantly go to the credit card to pay for it. And the types of projects are generally what I call tier 2 projects. They're important, but they're not big and shiny, so they often get, some of those projects that you helped to fund tonight have been on the CIP almost the entire time I've been here. So thank you for that. That's an investment in some things that'll make a difference. And then lastly, I would just note to council and to the public that this week we have 2 of our employees retiring. Noel Hernandez is retiring at the end of this week, as is Public Works Director Tom Jones. And thank them both for their many years of fantastic service. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir. David?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no comment tonight.
Okay, buddy?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just want to remind everybody that the mobile food pantry is tomorrow at the Old City Hall, and it's from 10 a.m. until noon. We have changed the time to be the same as all the rest of the mobile pantries. And we found that over the years we've done this noon to 1, we were lucky to have one person come, so we felt like it was warranted to change the time from 10 to noon. And the host organization tomorrow is the Poquoson Masonic Lodge.
Great. Great, thank you, buddy. Keith?
yes, I'd also like to add my thanks to Tom Jones and a fond farewell for him for all the work he's done. I've worked with him closely over the last several years, and he and his team do a great job down there. And in that vein, speaking of Public Works, of the 9 things that we talked about tonight and passed, about 7 of them have a direct impact on Public Works. Whenever we decide to build a park, to buy vehicles and things like that, it directly affects Public Works and their personnel, because we're asking them to do more with the same number of people. So not that we shouldn't do that, because this is all great, but we need to remember that. So some days when they come back to it and ask us for a little more funds, remember what we've put upon them with this. Thank you, that's all.
All right. Mr. Vice Mayor?
I have nothing further tonight.
Okay. Janet?
Just good to be back after my vacationing. Missed you guys.
Good to see you back. Buddy?
Yeah, I'd just like to second the comments made by Jay and to thank the citizens here and at home. I encourage them to invite their neighbors and friends to do the same thing. And the city manager thanked us for passing, funding the budget as we did, and I think it's just us that should be thanking him and the city staff. They've managed their finances to the point that we can't afford to do that. Doing these things for the citizens of Poquoson because the government is paying attention to their funds and managing their finances. Thank you, Randy, and city staff for doing such a good job.
Those are great comments, Bud, and I would like to echo your sentiments to Randy, to Tanya, and the entire staff. We just could not make it without you guys. Phenomenal job that you do. And the fact that we're able to fund some projects that have been here since you first came here, Randy, that's pretty over the top. That's doing a good job, and it's certainly not us. All the credit goes to the staff. Doing an excellent job. I'm proud to be able to work with you. To Tom Jones, I think you're watching. Many thanks for the years that you've given to the city, Tom. It's had some issues, health issues here lately. Thank the good Lord you've overcome those and are feeling a lot better now. And we just want to say thank you for all the contribution you made to this city. Your fingerprints are on many, many, many projects here, and a job well done, and we wish you all the best. Stay in contact, because we still love you, and I hope you still love us. So we'll go on now to an adjournment. Unless anybody else got anything to say. Is this a record meeting or?
Not adjourned yet.
Close.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made, and seconded, we adjourn. Ms. Kim?
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Mayor Hissel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.